Right after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, there is a video that has gone viral of an individual removing the camera that was right behind his head and removing the SD card from that camera. It turns out that this person was from Turning Point USA, and Candace Owens knows who he is. She reached out to him to see the footage, and after some back and forth, he showed it to her via FaceTime. Candace described what she saw, and this caused the internet to absolutely blow up. Why? There was no exit wound from the back angle, and masses of military and hunting experts chimed in to say, with this type of rifle, from that distance, with that round, that is impossible. If Charlie were in fact shot from the front, in the neck, there would have been an exit wound behind him. In fact, it would have been a massive exit wound. The rifle used blows holes through moose with ease. This has caused gun experts, military members who have been shot by high powered rounds before, and hunters to take another look at the footage. And what is being revealed is shocking to say the least. Turning Point USA even released an official statement on the exit wound. And here is Candace Owens talking again about what she saw and comparing that to the Turning Point USA spokesperson Andrew Colvette's statement on this issue. Then I'll show you the footage, which calls everything that we know about this case and the current mainstream narrative into question. Yet, this aligns a lot of the questions that we have about it. I'm Zach Costello.
On Friday, we did an episode. I want to be clear, I didn't think that episode was going to have the reaction that it did, but I am grateful. We were unpacking the footage that was going viral of the guy that was taking down the camera, which was directly behind Charlie's head, a mere approximate 4 minutes after Charlie was shot. Everybody thought that it was very suspicious. I recognized the individual and reached out, had a conversation, saw the footage, and made the promise that I was not going to share it. Although I said to you, I encouraged them to share it. I believe that the reason everybody is a conspiracy theorist is because people don't share truth, right? Once you share everything, there's no room for conspiracy. And when I was sharing what I saw, I was doing so because I was just thinking that, this could help. Like, this can obviously remove people from their conspiracies. And then it kind of occurred to me that what I shared was a bigger deal than I had imagined by saying that I didn't see any blood. And that is a fact. I did not see any blood. In fact, the only blood that I did see at all, I'm talking about blood on the back, was on Charlie's hand, on Charlie's left hand, which, as many people have been saying, means that the blood moved forward. We don't need to get into all of the gore. But what I didn't expect thereafter was for the Turning Point USA spokesperson, Andrew Colvett, to issue this statement as people were asking questions like, hey, how is that possible? How was there nothing in the back if this is the gun that was used? Andrew Colvett tweeted this over the weekend. I want to address some of the discussion about the lack of an exit wound with Charlie. I'm usually not interested in delving into most of this kind of online chatter, and I apologize that this is somewhat graphic. But in this case, the fact that there wasn't an exit wound is probably another miracle, and I want people to know. I just spoke with the surgeon who worked on Charlie in the hospital. He said the bullet, quote, absolutely should have gone through, which is very, very normal for a high-powered, high-velocity round. I've seen wounds from this caliber many times, and they always just go through everything. This would have taken a moose or two down, an elk, etc. End quote. And then now this is Andrew. But it didn't go through. Charlie's body stopped it. I mentioned to his doctor that there were dozens of staff, students, and special guests standing directly behind Charlie on the other side of the tent, and he replied, it was an absolute miracle that someone else didn't get killed. His bone, referring to Charlie, was so healthy and the density was so impressive that he's like the man of steel. It should have just gone through and through. It likely would have killed those standing behind him too. In the end, the coroner did find the bullet just beneath the skin. Even in death, Charlie managed to save the lives of those around him. Remarkable and miraculous. The statement objectively feels to me like the manipulation of a Christian audience, right? They know Charlie's audience is Christian. And therefore, what they're selling to us is you should believe. You're a believer, right? As a Christian, you believe in miracles, right? Like you believe in Christ and the miracles that Jesus performed, right? Well, then you should just believe this. There's something about that I don't like. I don't like that. I don't just, this was a miracle and that should just be the end and no more questions should be asked. Yes, the conservative base is filled with Christians, but also the conservative base is filled with a lot of hunters, okay? People that hunt and they know weapons and they know how weapons work and they know how weapons don't work. And this particular statement to me does not pass the sniff test. Now, again, when I shared that information, I had assumed they were going to say the angle went through this. I did not imagine they were just going to say that it was a miracle.
Look, I am firmly Christian. I believe in miracles. I believe that Jesus Christ rose from the dead. But this explanation is unacceptable for us at this point in history, especially now, since we know all of this. After Candace exposed what happened via the camera angle behind Charlie's head, people started digging. They started looking at things again. The first is the reflection of a flash coming from the top right direction from Charlie. Then, and it sucks to have to go through this, but the angle at which Charlie is struck, the motion of his hair, and the way that his head moves, the way he comes forward initially, all suggest that he was hit from behind. The bullet went through his head and out his neck. This video was put together by the YouTube channel Range Day Bro, and it was provided to him by a Marine who has been shot 3 times before. I'll put the link to the full video and source it below. But this has crazy implications.
Coming gang violence. Great.
So this video was created by a friend of mine who is a Marine. You'll see him here at the end. This is the angle he is showing the shot coming from, showing where Charlie was sitting and the angle of the shot, which will correspond with this video here, which unfortunately we will blur out Charlie's face, but we will show what is necessary to prove that this was an entry and exit wound. So you'll see him circle the highlighted area right there, and you'll see the exit wound corresponding after, a split second after, as it would from an entry and exit wound. So in this footage, you can clearly see that Charlie is shot from his back right, and there is blood splatter coming out of the entry wound immediately after a shot. The first arc is kind of down, as if it's just gushing out from the entry wound. And then the second shot corresponds with when his head kind of snaps forward. That fluid then flips up in relation to that motion. So you can see there's that second splatter flipping up into the air.
Given the evidence and the input from military and hunting experts, does it not seem logical for us to at least consider that Charlie was not hit from the front? This narrative actually makes the most sense. It addresses the exit wound question. It also fits the diversion tactics in. George Zinn, who was the old man on the ground, providing diversion 1, saying, I did it, I'm the one. Tyler Robinson, or the person in the black on the roof running across, could have been diversion 2. The rifle in the woods, wrapped in a towel with anti-fascist transgender meme engravings on them, was another diversion. The Tyler Robinson text messages, another diversion. From what? The actual shooter. Which then finally begs the question, if these were all diversions, including the rifle with the engravings, were these planted to make it look like a left-wing transgender extremist took Charlie out, which would then ensue division and cause Americans to turn on one another? Is it something bigger than left versus right? Perhaps the FBI and the authorities are doing their best, but perhaps they are being misled by these diversions as well. Kash Patel released this statement. They are taking into account the things coming out on social media. Our voices do matter, and we all want to get to the bottom of this. If you have any tips, send them to zach@zachcostello.com. Guys, we have the numbers. Together, we have the resources. Let's pull them together and for once, find the truth for ourselves. I'm Zach Costello.